guys, it is Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Oh my goodness, sorry, I went away. I'm Heather Marsigliano from Grace on Broadway, and we are here to start our project. This is going to be in the navy, and then we are going to decoupage this recycled paper that's in, like, it's a blueprint, and it's gonna go in the center here. I'm going to keep the original ground hardware, and then we're gonna put these gears by Would You Bend on it. So that is gonna be the plan for this. What we've done so far is I put a coat of slick stick on it. So we cleaned it with white lightning, and then we put one thin coat of slick stick. I didn't go crazy. It didn't need several, just a quick coat. I'm getting the lid off of my In the Navy. My hope is that the In the Navy color brings out kind of like the blue black that's there and kind of draws that out more. I'm gonna pop these out. Here we go. Now it's nice and light. Our drawers are out of our way. I have my flat large that's here, and it's looking awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and use it, but I'm also gonna pull out my flat small, because I have a feeling this is gonna be big for these areas. In one direction as much as I can. I also like to pull my lines back from the front to the bottom. I also don't try to put too much paint on any one spot. I'd rather do 2 thin coats than 1 super thick one. I think it helps with your finish at the very end. I mean, look at how fast this brush just helps me put down that first coat. And that is really great coverage for 1 coat of paint, especially for a dark color going on over a light one. I think that's pretty amazing. I was gonna think about maybe doing some blending or another color, but I feel like we're already gonna have so much going on with the blueprint and the gears and the hardware that I think it's kind of enough. So that's why I'm choosing to keep this part of the color as classic as I can and just simple. So instead of switching out my brushes, I just turned the brush from wide, where it was spreading out and getting a big area, to more horizontal, so that when I pull this way, it's gonna just do this smaller edge. So I'm just changing the way I'm holding my brush instead of switching. So again, I clean my pieces with white lightning. And when I clean, I take 1 bucket with white lightning in it, and then I have another bucket that is just clear water. And I have 2 separate rags, and I use my rag with the white lightning, and I really get my piece super extra clean. And then I go back with the clear water and wipe it all back. decoupaging the drawers and all of here. The center area where we're gonna put the paper, I don't mind if that's painted perfect. I don't mind if this center area has one coat, has some of the white showing through. We're putting paper here. Here and here need to be pretty. Here, I just need paint. Hopefully that makes sense. What is the ratio to water and cleaner? So on the bucket of White Lightning, I believe the official measurement, I don't have it to read it, but I'm almost positive it's 2 heaping tablespoons per gallon. At this point, I kind of just make up my warm water and shake it in and can eye it. But about a tablespoon or 2, obviously, if you have a full gallon. I personally think that using buckets of water just and a rag really lets you get in there and clean it. To me, if I were spraying and then wiping, I'm just moving the dirt. I'm not taking it off. And when I dunk in a bucket and clean, in my head, I just feel like that's how I'm completely removing it from my piece. And the reason it's super important is because your piece, whatever is on it when you paint, is what your paint is adhering to. So if you leave back any of that dirt or any of those oils or any of the cleaner, that's what your paint is going to attach itself to and adhere to. So if that slides, guess what? Your paint is going to slide. If that chips, your paint is going to chip. So that's why it's really important before you paint and before you add to make sure that your piece is clean and that all your parts are adhered properly. If there's any fixes you need to make them before you paint. Because paint is not going to fix everything. So this time we're just going to get all of our colors on and together. And then I'm going to probably finish up all the second coat, because I feel like this is going to be 2 coats, because I want this to be more solid. I don't want it to be distressed or anything like that. I want it to have a good finish. This is just the frame, but I want to take my paper to get you guys to kind of see the process that goes on in my head a little bit, and you can see how hopefully that paper is going to start to look with the color. See how it's going to just pull all the blue out of this blue black. Hopefully you guys can see what I see. all this wording, all of this stuff is in this like, it's almost the exact color of our In the Navy. Maybe you can see it better on this wall. There we go. For contrast, you can see it better. So I'm still super excited about In the Navy. Our first coat is on, so I'm gonna slide that back. I made a mess on my floor, I always do. And we're gonna go through and do the drawers. Now again, this centerpiece is where we're gonna decoupage. So we wanna make sure that these ends, because that's what's gonna show, this is where we're gonna concentrate on making it nice and perfect and pretty. Here, we're just looking for coverage. Thin coverage, you don't want it too thick, you don't want crazy paint lines. The easiest way to get paint lines is by painting too thick. Because then you're gonna put your paper on top of it, and if you have these like huge divots because you put your paint on too thick, guess what? Your paper is gonna do that too. These ends are what's gonna show. So when we come back around, I'm going to do 2 coats to the right and the left, and I'm gonna let the center stay 1 coat, because again, why make more work for ourselves than necessary? Just like if you start a piece, right? I always try to think of what my end goal is for that piece, because if I know I want that piece to be farmhouse, like super farmhouse, super distressed, super funky, not much paint left on, why would I ever paint that with 2 coats of paint? Right now you're just putting all the paint on to have this great coverage just to fight it to take it back off. So on a piece like that, you would keep in mind that your ultimate goal is to have less paint than more. So I would put less paint on it. YouTube channel or me or Dixie Belle Paint, Grace on Broadway, the Bells and Bow Tour, anything, you guys have like a few more minutes with me while we're painting the first coat, and I would be happy to answer your questions. If you're watching the replay, please feel free to ask questions and I still answer them. If you have questions in general, you can always message me. I'm happy to help. Even if you have a local retailer who you get your paint from, I am still happy to help answer questions. Please don't feel like just because I help you and I answer your questions, you have to only buy from me. That's crazy. I'm here to be helpful to you. So I'm going to finish doing this first coat here. Then between this time and the next time I come on with you guys, I'm going to do a second coat everywhere except for this centerpiece. And then when we come on next week, which is Wednesday at 4 still, we're going to do the decoupage with recycled treasures paper, and we're going to add some Would You Bend gears. So this is our project, and this is what we are working on. Does anyone have any more questions? We are getting towards time. I'm loving in the navy. I hope you guys can see how well this color is going on. Am I gonna paint the edges rosy? Oh yeah, I won't leave them like that. I just have this great big brush, so I'm painting the fronts first, and then I'll go through and grab the little ones. I'm also gonna paint the top. I didn't do that either while we were talking because I didn't feel like standing up. Do I sell the papers? I do. I am a Royce Cycle retailer. I'm going to get the papers on my website, but I do sell them. They are here in the store in Bangor, Pennsylvania. You can call. I have a picture on Grace on Broadway of all the papers that I have. So from like this second until they get on the website, if you want any of them, you can just message me and I can ship them out. But yeah, I always make sure that when I send things out to customers, whether it's something that's done in my shop and you're buying it as a customer, or if it's something you're asking me to do, it's finished. So with that, I mean, all these sides are done nice, the tops are done, everything is painted. I go a little bit out of order sometimes on lives, but that's mostly just because either time or I'm trying to show you guys something, or right now I'm just physically sitting here like this and I'm trying to get through the drawers because my hope is that I'll be able to put them in here and at least show you what the first coat would look like with the paper inside it. I just want you to notice too, you're not here so you can't see it specifically, is the body is already dry, which is awesome. So if we wanted to, we could go right back to where we started the body and put the second coat on right now. I don't have patience to wait like overnight or till the next week or any of that nonsense. If it's dry, we paint. So I just fixed my edges. Our first drawer is dry. So let's pop it in. This is why I said they probably needed some Big Mama's butter. Grease up these sides. I just want you to see kind of where we're going with this. I know it's just the first coat, but I think it's going to be awesome. So now we're mostly put back together. These white lines are gonna go away. We're gonna paint them in the navy. Let's pretend they're not there for the moment. I don't wanna push this all the way in because the rest of that's wet. I actually kind of don't mind them, to be honest. You won't see them though. So there's gonna be our paper. Right down the center. We have to decide what color or we want to do with the hardware. What do you do to make the drawers slide better? I'm gonna do some Big Mama's butter, and we're gonna get into that when it's time. So these are the original hardware. I pulled this part out so it's not gonna wanna stick. It's not gonna wanna stay in there, but it's round. And then we're going to add some more gears. Maybe here, maybe there. So we're gonna do all those things. I gotta fix this. Just fix that while it's wet. So I'm going to pull all those back out. I'm gonna finish up the tops of the drawers. I'm gonna do the top of it, and I'm gonna do a second coat of In the Navy between now and when I see you guys again. And then we're gonna do all the fun stuff. I'm gonna see you guys next week. This is gonna get completely finished. I know day one of projects, sometimes there's not a whole lot of learning and a whole lot of content. A lot of times it's just laying down the first colors. The best I can tell you is the beginning of a project is to really take time to clean it, take time to fix it, take time to know what you're getting into and be ready to paint. And then also to think of your end game with that piece as you are painting and getting ready to do what you're doing. Because if you want 2 coats, paint even. If you want it super rustic, maybe don't do 2 full coats, because you're going to be taking stuff back off and wasting some of your time. So these are the things that are working through my head as I'm doing those first beginning steps. I'm constantly checking with my decoupage paper or my transfer, whatever else I'm using as my step 2 on my day 2. I'm constantly looking at that and looking at where I'm at with my piece to decide, do I want to keep going down that road, or do I want to add a second color? Do I like how this is working? Because sometimes right now is the best time to evaluate that, not when you're done, right? So all of those things are things that happen in step 1. So, all right. Hey, Pam. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to boogie. Make sure you're thinking things through when you're working on your projects and you're working in the beginning. And I will see you guys here next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. All right, bye guys.